Good morning, afternoon, whenever you're watching this. I'm Deborah Roth from Spirited Living and delighted to be back here again with another addition to or introduction to another goddess in your inner goddess team. And if you pay attention to such things, I thought I was going to be doing, and that's what I posted in my story about this. I thought I was going to be doing the Celtic goddess of winter, one of the winter goddesses, kayak. And then, I don't know, only an hour or two ago, a couple hours ago, I realized that I'd already had introduced her almost a year ago because she's kind of in sync with this time of year being a winter goddess. And then as soon as I discovered that and thought, oh, what am I going to do? I got on the phone with a fabulous new friend, Matt Mays. I will give you his website in the notes on YouTube when this is posted on YouTube. He's just a wonderful artist of mythology and goddesses. And in the very first 5 minutes of our conversation, he said, have you ever done an inner goddess team video on Sedna? And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't think I ever have. So today, and I'll explain in a minute why this has to do with this time of year and this kind of season. Well, it'll be obvious. We will be doing instead the Inuit or Alaskan Eskimo, but Inuit is really the proper name. Hello, Peggy. We'll be focusing on the goddess Sedna, who is the goddess of the sea, and she is still very much revered today. And there are several versions of her myth that are just, it's so rich. Her story and her mythology is very rich. And I'll give you a little sense of all of them. Please, if you know more about her, let me know. I'm always curious to hear. And that usually comes up on my YouTube channel. Usually daily, of people that have had experiences, their own personal experience with these goddesses. Definitely subscribe there and go check out some of the ones I've been doing for the last year and a half. And please comment here. More people will reach us and will be more intentional about bringing back the powerful qualities of the divine feminine. You will also see a video, I don't go into it in great depth at this point, about what I mean by the divine feminine, why it's so critical for us modern day folks, always has been, to really embrace these qualities as a potent power source to really make changes in ourselves and ultimately, obviously, in the world. So, all that said, Sedna is somewhat complex. She is definitely a goddess of the sea. And alternatively, depending on what angle you take with her, she's a goddess of abundance because yes, she does provide food to the Inuit people. At the same time, and this comes out in her mythology, which I'll share in a minute, she rose above her victimhood and she taps into rage and anger and even vengeance in ways that remind us that we can be powerful and that we don't need to be victimized, that we can reclaim our power if we feel like there's some place in our life or some person in our life who has disempowered us. So the way that her mythology goes, and as I said, there's several versions. So I really went down the rabbit hole or the goddess hole, as it were, learning about a little bit more about her. Essentially, she starts off being a beautiful young woman, and one version says that her father is constantly trying to marry her off, and she, like many smart women who happen to be beautiful, she wants none of that, and a bird, a special kind of bird, let's see if I can find what they were called, comes to her. It's something like a fulmar, a seabird. Anyway, it's a seabird that comes to her and invites her to come live with him in his beautiful castle that's filled with riches and very luxurious. And she says, I'm totally there. None of this stuff with my father. I'm not going to go with any of these humans that he wants me to marry. So she takes off with this bird and ends up in his dirty, disgusting net, nothing like what he had promised her, and in fact, really makes her a slave to do his bidding. So she reaches out to her father. She beseeches her father to come take her away. And this is the point, which he does. He comes, he puts her in his kayak, in his canoe, and they set off together. Now, that's one version of the first half of her myth. The other version is that she lives in an igloo with her family, and one night in the middle of a violent storm, a handsome young man comes, and he's got two sharp wolf teeth hanging on his neck, and comes and asks for shelter. And so he sleeps with everyone there. And then when they wake up, he's gone. And the father says, "Oh, I think that actually must have been our dog disguised as a handsome man." And it turns out that he impregnates the daughter. So the father is so upset with this that he sends her away, drops her off on an island where she then is continued to be sustained by the family dog, the wolf dog, with bits of meat. She gives birth to 6 beings. 3 are human and 3 are sort of dog human. And she sends the dog human ones off in a slipper that she makes out of skins, animal skins. But then at that point, she's alone. She wants to come off the island. So the two myths converge for the second half. And the second half is that when her father comes to get her, puts her in the canoe, a violent wind comes up. In the first version, the one with the birds, all these birds come and attack the boat, and they cause great waves. In the second version, the one with the dog, it's just a violent storm that may indeed have been started by, all the wolf dogs. In any case, it's determined that the only way that the father is going to survive is to throw her overboard. When she claws onto the side of the boat to pull herself back up and into the boat, he methodically chops off all of his fingers until finally she slips down under the ocean, and at that point becomes Sedna. And from her fingers, all the different ocean animals, seals and dolphins and whales, flow from her stumps, flow from her fingers. So Matt is doing, the artist I mentioned at the beginning is actually painting her and has just some really evocative images. I won't spoil it because it's his art, about what arises from her fingers. So she lives with her hair entangling all these animals beneath the surface. And the Inuit people learn that, and she's pretty rageful because of how she's been treated by these humans, right? So she only releases the animals when she is appeased, or when they honor her with offerings and ways to thank her and make her feel welcome. So she then, the shaman in the Inuit world, they have a beautiful name. See if I can find it easily. So one of the ways that she is appeased, and that she agrees to release these animals of the deep, and this is really how, you've all heard stories, I'm sure, of how the Inuit tribe, how the Inuit people sustain themselves with whales, and they use every part of the whale and all that. But when they can't access that, it really affects their whole being, their whole livelihood. So the shamans in the Inuit tradition, create a shamanic journey. They allow themselves to go underwater, and I wish I could find the name of what they call the shamans. It's not coming to me, but I'll put it in my notes on my YouTube description tomorrow. They imagine themselves transforming into a fish, and then they swim down to the bottom of the ocean. And once there, they massage Sedna's fingers, because she's not able to move around. She's not able to scratch herself or to comfort herself, rubbing her fingers. And so they massage her fingers, and they and they run their fingers through her hair in a way that she's not able to do because she only has stumps on her fingers. And she's portrayed as both evil and this abundance, with this spirit of abundance, because after all, when you treat her properly, she does, offer up the gifts of the sea. So it's just one of the richest mythologies. I mean, I'll probably say that about so many of the goddesses I highlight here. And there are several ways that I'll outline, because I never like to do these for more than 10 or 15 minutes. I'll outline some of the ways that you can honor her and invoke her. But basically, my question for you, first, have you heard of her? And then think about ways that you may have felt diminished or literally victimized, as Sedna certainly was, and how you can rise above. What is it that you need to do to be nurtured, to be sustained? What can someone, and who can you ask? Not just someone, but who can you ask to sustain you and to help heal you from this victimhood, to reclaim your power? So that's a very big message of hers. I think being able to, and there were lots of wonderful writings about, if you can imagine if you're willing to take danger, to face danger like the shaman does, and risk your life for the greater good. That's, from the shaman standpoint. Other writers have talked about the fact that the story is a reminder that even when we have negative qualities that we need to learn to control, they don't negate our being. They don't, like her running off to the bird, or, being rejected, but everyone still deserves our love and respect. And that she occasionally gets very angry with us humans and causes these violent storms, and wants us to be able to honor her and respect her even when she is angry. So she's comparable to several different goddesses. If you know the story of Inanna and Ereshkigal, it's a Sumerian, beautiful Sumerian that I've done another Inner Goddess Team video about. It really also metaphorically is about going to our own depths, because of course the ocean and water is just always such a powerful representation of our subconscious, our unconscious. So it's looking at where our fears are, looking at where we feel like a victim by going deep, which is not always the most comfortable journey, to say the least. So it takes a lot of courage to do that too. So you can see just so many messages with this goddess. She's where I've been the last couple hours when I realized I wasn't going back and doing kayak. But you can see the kayak video. It was last December, I think December 28th, that I actually did it. So I'm going to end with, as I often do, and I've sung this one before. It's a particularly beautiful chant to honor water and to honor the ocean goddesses, of which there are many. So just take a deep breath with me and close your eyes. I'll sing it a couple times, and it's one of the first ones that I learned, so it's very, very dear to my heart. I am the ocean, and the ocean is me. I am the goddess, and I am the sea. Everything opens when I open me. Everything opens when I open me. A little low. I'll start it up a little half step. One more time. I am the ocean, and the ocean is me. I am the goddess, and I am the sea. Everything opens when I open me. Everything opens when I open me. So sing that when you want to connect with Sedna, when you want to connect with any of the powerful ocean goddesses. If you're a water sign, if your sun sign is Cancer or Pisces or What's the other one that I'm missing? Cancer, Pisces, and whatever the third water sign is. My brain is blanking out. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you back here next week. Again, please remember to like, subscribe on the YouTube channel, and let me know if there's any goddesses that you would like to have highlighted, somebody that's special to you. Namaste. Thanks for being with me. Bye for now.